place to visit today is Sewoon Plaza. The history of Sewoon Plaza dates back to World War II. The Japanese government general of Korea left the current site of Sewoon Plaza in Seoul empty to prevent fires that broke out during the war from spreading to the surrounding area. This place, which spans 50 meters wide and 1 kilometer long, became an empty space. After liberation from Japanese colony, this place became a slum as shanty towns and brothels were built. In 1966, a massive project to redevelop the site began. Kim Soo-gun, the most famous architect at the time, was in charge of the design. The first construction was completed in 1967, and it was a huge complex consisting of 8 buildings. Each building has a name, but it is called Sewoon Plaza as a whole. The finest and newest apartments in those days were built here. As Korea's first residential and commercial complex, it was very popular, with celebrities and politicians moving in. In the 1970s, as electronic goods became popular, people flocked to electronic stores here. This place was so famous for electronics and machinery that they said that missiles and submarines can be also made here. However, as commercial districts were formed elsewhere in Seoul, such as Myeongdong, and Gangnam was developed as a new residential area, this place gradually declined. In addition, with the establishment of electronic shopping malls in Yongsan, its role as a mecca for the electronic industry ended. Since the 2000s, whether to regenerate or redevelop this place has become a hot topic. Urban regeneration is to revitalize cities that have declined due to changes in the industrial structure by adding new functions. Redevelopment is to reorganize the residential environment and urban landscape by constructing infrastructure such as roads, water, and sewage. The two concepts have a common denominator to save a declining region, but the methodology is different. Currently, neither regeneration nor redevelopment is continuously being promoted here. Coincidentally, the plan is changing every time the mayor of Seoul changes. The current Sewoon Plaza is the result of promoting regeneration during the term of the former mayor. The pedestrian bridges were installed to connect 8 buildings that were disconnected at the time of completion. It attracted startups and artists while maintaining the base of the existing merchants. As cafes and restaurants of young sense were built here, it became a unique place in harmony with the existing commercial district. On the day of visiting Sewoon Plaza, a song festival is being held in the square in front of the plaza. It is a feast for the elderly where amateur singers participate. Leaving the loud music behind, I'm facing Sewoon Plaza. The square in front of Sewoon Plaza was originally made into a park after demolishing the first building of the complex, but even this was removed and made into a square. The robot seems to symbolize the electronics and machinery industries here. If you turn your back on Sewoon Plaza, you can see Jongmyo. Jongmyo is a Confucian shrine dedicated to the spirit tablets of kings and queens of the Joseon dynasty. In other words, it is a place to honor the souls of kings and queens during the Joseon dynasty. Have I been there? I'll deal with it in another video sometime. After passing the robot, I enter Sewoon Plaza. It says manufacturing in Sewoon, technology brokers are waiting at all times. On the left, it appears to be shops of existing merchants. Most stores are closed because it is Sunday. On the right side, it says Electronic Museum. However, it says that the operation will be suspended from August 31st. It seems that the policy of how to use it again has not yet been decided. This is the second building of the complex, Cheonggye Shopping Center. Cheonggyecheon stream flows under the pedestrian bridge. There are relatively recent cafes and restaurants here, so I can see more people compared to other buildings. You can still see underdeveloped shanty houses outside the building. There is a strange contrast to the tall buildings in the near distance. After passing the pedestrian bridge, it is Samphung Nexus, remodeled from Samphung Shopping Center. It was remodeled in 2006 and looks like a new building compared to other buildings. This place has offices and a hotel. It is one of the pedestrian bridges I mentioned earlier. Those bridges were included at the time of initial design, but it is said that they could not be installed due to different interests between the buildings. They have been recently installed according to the urban regeneration plan. What if the bridges were installed from the start? Wouldn't it have been possible to prevent Sewoon Plaza from declining like this? It is a meaningless thought now. This is Jinyoung Shopping Center. The line flower pots and wreaths suggest that it is a flower shopping place. It was once the largest flower shopping place in Korea. It's the end of Seoul Plaza. I can see the Daehan Cinema across the street. This is the observatory on top of Seoul Plaza. On the right side, you can see a very large construction site. It is called Seoul District 4. It is said that studio apartments, business facilities, and accommodations will be built. While Seoul Plaza is at a crossroads between regeneration and redevelopment, it has already begun redevelopment. Depending on the future of Seoul Plaza, there can be a mismatch. It is a panoramic view of Jongmyo-shurin from the observatory. On the left side of Seoul Plaza, remaining old buildings gives a very different atmosphere than on the right side. Surprisingly, the underground of Seoul Plaza is a historical site in the 15th century, the early Joseon dynasty. Ceramics and tiles of that time are on display. If this place is redeveloped, will these ruins be moved to another place? It seems that a more complicated procedure is needed than the first thought. The current mayor is pushing for a redevelopment plan again. The plan is to demolish Sewoon Plaza to create an urban park and build a high-rise residential and commercial complex around it. Many problems will arise. There should also be a place for people who are based here to move. It is said to be a long-term plan that takes more than 10 years. Whether it is regeneration or redevelopment, there are advantages and disadvantages, and pros and cons are at odds. I hope that it will be carefully reviewed and decided in the most desirable direction either way. I wonder what this place will look like in 10 or 20 years.